Okay, so Soulstone, or as it's called in the Omen Pass, is the terminus of return. So this is a card that I was thinking I would want to play in in Black White Blink or Esper Blink, where it gives you like a late game inevitability and it's like a 2 mana rock early in a deck that's kind of mana hungry. I thought you'd play it as like a 1 or a 2 of, and it wouldn't be that exciting, and then maybe that's not something that would even ever make the stream, was kind of where I was at with the Soulstone. Then I was kind of looking at other decks. I was staring at the Soulstone. And a lot of people have been asking me about Beseech with Soulstone. And the thing is, Beseech in general is kind of just a bad card because with the ring being banned, like just getting most 4 mana cards isn't very good. Really, the only success we've had with Beseech post ring ban has been with suspend spells. So with Living End or with Restore Balance. So I was looking kind of back through some old brews, and I found this one that we had played in the past. This was a Crypt of Agadeem deck when I was going through my Crypt of Agadeem phase, where you're trying to fill the graveyard with Troll of Khazad-dms and Street Wraiths and discard spells, milling with Overlord of the Balemurk, stuff like that. And then you can use your Crypt of Agadeem as like a big mana generating card, so you can cast Overlord, cast Troll, that kind of stuff in the late game. But you're also just trying to Beseech the Mirror, sacrificing a Cookbook, a food token, a Bowmaster token, or now a Terminus of Rebirth into the Beseech. And so I think that Beseech gives you like a really nice extra speed boost, and then also like another late game mana sink for the Crypt of Agadeem, where if your crypts are really powerful, you can more easily ultimate, I don't know what you call this, ultimate your Soulstone, so that you can start returning creatures from the graveyard. Which is, I don't know, it's like, it feels like such a perfect fit for this archetype. It's definitely one that I kind of overlooked when I was thinking about applications for the Soulstone. This is, again, one that I was trying to save for tomorrow, because I thought it was really sweet. And today, it might end up getting the main focus of today anyways, since today is so chaotic. You have done differently if they consign my stuff. Oh, so I had the ability to hardcast a Quantum Riddler that I had warped. So on the following turn, if I wanted to play around Stub, I could have hardcast the Quantum Riddler and just made a much more efficient play. Although maybe I was gonna get got by the consign anyways. But I don't know. Like I just felt very outplayed by them in that moment, and I don't know. I don't not sound braggadocious or anything, but I can't recall the last time I just felt like totally outmaneuvered. It was impressive. I think we're gonna play this tapped. Start to brew hide on the ceiling yet. Have a couple brews going. It seems tough to build around. So as far as hide on the ceiling goes, I think that if you're playing a Springleaf Drum version of Affinity, it's like a really good sideboard option you can play. Beyond that, I don't think that it necessarily has. It's a reactive card, right? Oh, wait. Is Hide on the Ceiling the? Oh, I'm thinking of the web slinging counterspell. If you're talking about the Flicker card, I guess no, I haven't started to build with that one yet. Title and title. Sorry, I know I'm so all over the place today. You hear the sort of story was a record in Showcase. Yeah, I went 5-2 drop in the Showcase with the Cascade Ritual deck. I lost to Ginger on Boros. I beat another Boros. I beat a very salty Bluetron player. I beat at least one Goryo's player. I think it was 2. And I lost to Quantum Energy, which it looks like what we're up against here too. So they go ahead and force the Cookbook instead of my Soulstone. Do they have the Riddler as one of their last 2 cards? They do. Interesting that they're playing Hydroelectric Specimen. That's what Gab was playing this too, right? Tough to build because playing an Ephemeral deck would almost always be better. Yeah, the main reason to play Hide on the Ceiling is because it pairs well with that 2-mana artifact that when it enters or leaves the field, you draw a card. Beyond that, I don't think there's really much reason. I think I've got enough 2-mana creatures between like Emperor of Bones and Bowmaster that I want to lead on this first. Hit a Street Wraith. It does seem like this game is going to come down to, do I draw Beseech the Mirror or not? I do have the yard a little bit filled now. I do draw Beseech the Mirror. I did just mill 2 of my Thoughtseizes. I think we might as well cycle this main phase. Okay, a little bit rewarded, so I get to play the tapped Crypt of Agadeem here. Now you also, another thing I forgot to mention, you can sack your Overlord to Beseech the Mirror, so you can sack it and then bring it back. Is High Noon a decent card against the blue-white Ephemerate deck? I don't really think so. Like, they have Prismatic Endings if it's annoying. Felia means that they can go like 1-mana creature on their turn, flash into Felia. It can be kind of good on some of their turns, but I think it's really not like such a problem overall. As a Zaggoth Triumph burned me at all in the Cascade Ritual deck, changing the Triumph to Xander's Lounge, less Portico, Thundering Falls. It has burned me sometimes. I do think that we talked about the Xander's Lounge, Lush Portico, Thundering Falls thing. It might be better. I thought that there was also a scenario where that can burn you, but I agree the mana could be improved a little bit. I just I didn't get around to updating it. Okay, well, let's see if this Beseech resolves. They've got 3 cards in their hand. No more lies. Well, no more lies indeed, I guess. Ease. So in these kind of matchups where I'm expecting my opponents to have a lot of graveyard hate, like my opponents are capable of having. Okay, so I guess Sanctifier and Veckan specifically is kind of weird, where I kind of need the living ends to get those off the field, and that's something my opponent can also have. But I was also thinking that if my opponent's got like something like a Rest in Peace in play, or like a permanent hate piece for graveyard hate, you would just kind of always want to bring in the Sheoldred, so you just have like a value 4 drop to get in those kind of situations. I think that the Emperor of Bones can be quite good too. I think I'm going to trim one of the living ends. Maybe trim a Daredevil and the Cling. Let's try this. And then in general, Emperor of Bones kind of serves a dual purpose of letting you be like grindier in sideboard games while also being pretty good graveyard hate against Reanimator decks or Gorios. I guess, yeah. Reanimator's been kind of in a weird spot where Grixis and Gorios were around for a long time, and then Gorios has kind of clearly taken over. Again, Max Thinker with the 44. So no turn 1 Pride for my Bowmasters. Let's go ahead and play Soulstone, discard Cookbook, cast Asmo. We thought about playing a Spy on the side of the Cascade Ritual deck. I haven't thought about Spy. It is technically castable. I think that like I do prefer the Collector Oofs we have. I think. Because like you can cascade into Collector Oof, and if you don't, you still have the backdoor of ritualing into it, where with Balustrade Spy you have to ritual into it, which can be too slow. And then what's nice about Collector Oof is it just like it slows them down a lot, and then your dragons have time to kind of take over the game, interacting with your opponent, if that makes sense. So like that's been a dynamic I've liked. Don't feel like it's necessarily mandatory. Is that the energy list at the top of the PT? Yeah, it looks like pretty close to Gab's list. It's also what I lost to when I was 5-1 in the Showcase Challenge on Saturday. So they're representing Ophelia, which is not something we need to really concern ourselves with too much with the Asmo in play here. Second Bowmaster does seem generally pretty good. Graveyarding it has value not only with a future living in, but also with the Soulstone. I think I'm going to go ahead and graveyard it. I could also potentially buy one back with a Cookbook. It feels like they could have just called them Legendary Artifact Stone for simplicity's sake. Oh, I didn't even realize this Terminus type instead of Infinity. What a like disaster I feel like the Omen Paths has been compared to the the paper versions. It's just like I know that there's a lot of like dumb discourse about Universe Beyond at the moment, but for me, nothing is more annoying than as a Magic Online player, nothing's more annoying than the paper names and the online names being so different. Starfield Shepherd. They grab a planes. Does this mean future Marvel sets are almost certain to have the different names online? I think so, yeah. I would have a hard time imagining that's not the case. It does kind of seem like they have the ephemerate for the Shepherd, but that's probably okay. I wonder what happens if someone registers the Terminus in paper. I don't know. I mean, they've gotten a lot more lenient on deck registration errors over the last few years. They grab another planes. I think I should save the Bowmaster to kill an Ocelot Pride that they're I even feel like they're pretty likely to tutor off of this. Okay, always love to see an Overlord. Is there really any chance that I would activate? I guess I might sack the Asmo if my opponent has like exile-based removal, so I could go to the graveyard for a future living end. So there's a yeah. I guess I can also take. I can take this Bowmaster and I can go cast Bowmaster. I can go cast Bowmaster, sack the token, Bowmaster the Starfield Shepherd. And I could do that main phase so that I could attack, and I could do that main phase so that if they have another rebound, we get around that. So I guess let's go for that. In the article where they list upcoming sets, all of the Universe Beyond ones said coming to tabletop online except for the Marvel one. At least it's just the Marvel one, but it's what a disaster, I think. All right, so this is 7 mana, not counting its own mana to tap, so we're still 2 away from getting the Soulstone online. If we find a Crypt of Agadeem, I guess we only have 2 creatures in the graveyard, so we're a little short of that. That being said, we're really ahead on board. Well, we can maybe just like cookbook back. If we draw a land, we could cookbook back a land, either a troll or a trawler, and then that would set us up to ultimate the Soulstone next turn. Wait, they played Ocelot Pride before Quantum Riddler into my double Bowmasters. Infernflow with the 18 months. Thank you. Welcome back. And then they're going to Mockingbird my Asmo, maybe? No. Wow, just ephemerating. Okay. So the Riddler is big enough to block everything. And I'm not going to be very good at getting an Asmo activation next turn. Let's see what we draw. We draw Beseech the Mirror. I think I just want to Beseech for Sheoldred. This is kind of the plan. Is that in these sideboard games, a lot of times you might not be as in on the graveyard. My opponent also might want me to Living End here. They might have Force of Negation and they just let this resolve, and then I just cast the Sheoldred. Not 100% sure about any of this, but it feels like a fun line at least. Do you know how many subs are left on the Abyssal promotion? So it resets every single time. So for today, it's 150 new ones. I think it should say somewhere on your stream how many are left. I can't see it from my view. But there's gonna be 4 total Abyssal days. This is the second, and each time they're giving half off to 150 subs. So subs are currently half off, and they're half off for the next 2.5 hours. All right, so they are gonna Mockingbird my Sheoldred. Maybe I could have sacked the Sheoldred in response to the Mockingbird being cast, but then I guess they would have just targeted the Bowmaster. They either block the army and get him for 5, or they eat something at 7. I mean, the thing is just Solitude is such a disaster if I send in, so I feel like for me that's just enough of a reason to Play a little scared, I guess. I do have the ability to trade Sheoldreds if I want. I think I want to offer the trade because I've got the cookbook. So they force this Thoughtseize. The last card's got to be like a Solitude, which makes me think that we should attack here. It kind of feels like there's nothing to beseech out game one. Well, the entire deck is built around beseeching out Living End. So I would have to disagree with you there. You know what? I think I do just want to set myself up to be able to ultimate the Soulstone if I draw a land. So let's just cookbook back the Trawler. It says when you go to gift a sub, 50 remaining at the moment. Okay. Wait, 50 remaining. It should be. We got 100 subs this morning. So if I draw a land, which I don't, but the thinking would be that I would be able to like sack Sheoldred at instant speed and then level this up or ultimate this. I guess we'll go for lethal, which maybe I shouldn't be so glum about. Why not block with Sheoldred? Yeah, I'm not sure why they didn't block with Sheoldred. I mean, I guess having their Sheoldred in play is pretty important. Maybe their Riddler in play is a big liability because it will be triggering my Bowmasters and stuff. I could also go, maybe getting Felia is better than getting Troll. I think that's the case. Since I can feel a lot more confident about attacking. Although I do think they're going to Solitude my Emperor here. And then I'm going to activate this again. That's a little bit. You can gift. Oh, that's fun. Well, again, don't feel obligated. Subs are 50% off. Don't feel obligated. Friday was a crazy day. I'm gonna activate this, and then the Mockingbird Sheoldred will like be deleted basically. So we are going to game 3. I didn't see any Graveyard Hate that game, although we can kind of be sure that it's there. Traz with 50% off 20 packs. What, 20 pack? Thank you so much, Traz. If you've got a gifted sub, make sure to thank Traz. I think on the draw, I want to have the Fatal Pushes in. I like the Sheoldred. I think on the draw, I'm going to cut a Beseech also. Maybe just play one Living End, since it seems like they're just going to have Graveyard Hate a lot of the time. So I can have one Living End, maybe, but we're just going to be lessened on the plan. Am I close to unlocking more VIP slots now? No, unfortunately. Still like pretty far away from like my subscriber peak count that peaked during MH3. Chattanooga with the 50% off your sub from Bissell. Thank you so much. Very cool sponsorship. I guess while our opponent is sideboarding, go ahead and do Bissell ad read again. This has been a very fun sponsor campaign, a product me and Esther already own, or we own the other green machine, and this is the new one that's smaller and more compact. The little green machine got minified. It is a deep cleaning portable cleaner. It is the newest machine in the cutest little package. And guess what? It's just as strong as the original. With over 2 million sold, our original green machine is America's #1 selling portable deep cleaner. Always ready to clean spills, spots, and stains from an entire couch without interruptions. Very clutch for me personally, with owning a Husky. Also very clutch when our dogs got sprayed by a skunk. Fun size and fully loaded, ready to be your stain-fighting sidekick to spray, scrub, and suction away life's oopsie messes. Bissell doesn't just clean up after your pets, they help save them too. When you buy a Bissell product, every purchase saves pets through Bissell's support of BISSE, which is their charity that helps prevent pet homelessness. The price is $95, but with a Amazon Prime, it is at the moment $75. So thank you, Bissell, for sponsoring. Back to the matches. On the draw, we do have like kind of a reasonable hand. I think if we can surveil into an untapped mana, I'll be happy enough with this one. Lucy would never cost a mess. Yeah, Lucy's a little goblin. She's very sweet. she is kind of a messy dog. Athena is very clean. She is like the cleanest. She hates dirt and mud, and she's just a princess. Maybe it's better to Overlord this turn. No, if they go Felia into Riddler, then I can Bowmaster kill the Felia before they can use the Felia to scam the Riddler. Check my messages when I get a chance. Oh yeah, I do know that, Hitachi. I should probably be using Incognito Tab. Is Asmo my favorite card ever? I wouldn't say it's my favorite card ever. I'd say my favorite card ever is Jade Avenger. I do really like the card. As far as like actual cards I get to play with, I like Dragon Rage's Channeler. Dragon Rage's Channeler is probably my favorite like card that I play in Modern regularly. All right, Street Wraith is really nice for the Asmo, although I'm also pretty interested in getting this Crypt of Agadeem popping off. But I think I'm just not going to be able to pass up this opportunity to Fatal Push the Felia and pass this Asmo. Yeah, I do like Asmo as a card. I'll say that, like, to some extent, cards like Asmo are overrepresented on the channel because they just have, like, a lot of innate brew potential, you know what I mean? Like this is a card that has a lot of synergy with a lot of like off the beaten path cards. It has a lot of like interesting angles of attack that you don't usually get to play with, and so because that's the case, it's just a card that makes the brew stream more often than not, or more often than other cards would make it. Seems like they have a Force of Negation, and they're waffling on if they want to force the thoughts. Did they just play a worse mana leak? I would be surprised how hard this is to cast compared to like how often you're gonna have only 2 white sources compared to Mana League. It probably will happen because they do play flagstones. That being said, 2 Force of Negations? I guess let's take the Solitude so I can Emperor of Bones the Solitude. Doesn't seem like trying to like hope they don't draw a blue card is a very good plan, because if they do draw a blue card, we're pretty cooked. Life total is actually a bit lower than I realized too. I think I'm still going to take the Troll. Next turn we're going to have 5 mana. Although I guess I always forget this. Emperor of Bones plus Crypt is a little bit weird, since you don't you can't like make the mana cast Emperor then activate the thing all in the same turn. Yeah, it's also pitches to Force and Solitude, and exiling the spell is relevant. So my opponent might cash in their Wrath X equals 0, and then hit me for 3 down to 6. Oh, sorry, 2 down to 6 because their cat dies. Oh no, they're gonna be able to jump the Guide of Souls, because you don't see this that often. Okay, so 4 down to 5, and then they have a 5th point of power in play. Their hand is Force of Negation, Force of Negation. If I drew exactly Thoughtseize, we could choose to Living End, although it wouldn't be the best Living End with them having Solitude and Felia anyways. Seems like we mostly want to try going for a more creature-focused route. Our Asmo did die, so we do actually have an extra mana on the on this turn. So I think we're just gonna have to cast Emperor of Bones, target Solitude, cast the Sheoldred, and hope that they. I don't even really know what they could top deck. It would have to be like exactly Starfield Shepherd. Challenge already started. We were 1-0. I did mean to play the Phoenix Dredge deck, but then we played against the Phoenix Dredge deck and we crushed them. So that was been our morning so far. Misregistered the deck. Q against the deck we wanted to register because it kind of had a breakout weekend, and crushed them. Absolutely crushed them. Spike, was I lying right now when you said DRC? No, Dragon Rage's Channeler is like, I think it's my favorite modern card to play with. I think it is. We've had so many fun decks with it over the years. It does so many cool things. It's like powerful, but it's still like a 1 mana creature that just like dies 1/1 to removal. It's like weak to Bowmasters. Like it has counterplay from like Bowmasters, Rin and 6, Lava Dart, Graveyard Hate. I love Dragon Rage's Channeler. Also, I guess I could show this. For the wedding, me and Esther are gonna have a stack of Happily Ever Afters. We're gonna white out the text on them so people can like write little things. But we have a full stack of Happily Ever Afters for people to write cute things on. We might get them. They might force some negation my cookbook. We'll see. Let me go ahead and cast the cookbook, see if that's going to be the case. Thanks, Spider. Good to hear from you. Hope you're doing well. So their hand is Force of Negation Mystery card. Do we think that mystery card is a blue card for the Force of Negation? And if we do, is there really anything we can do to play around that? Seems like no matter what, I'm getting a non-creature, so let's just go ahead and put this Living End on the stack. And then I'm holding priority, and I'm going to go ahead and activate the Emperor of Bones first. Naturals with 50% off their sub from Bissell. You think Lurrus would have eaten a ban or be okay now if Bobble wasn't in the format? So like if Bobble had been banned or just had never been legal, I do think it would have taken a lot longer for them to take any action against Lurrus. Okay, so they just don't have it, which is obviously great news. Now we should be not dead to anything. Also great news. Let's go ahead and return the Sheoldred since our Crypt of Agadeems are much weaker now. Since all of our creatures are now in play. And thank you, Naturals. And then I'm going to go ahead and go after their Guide of Souls. Although I suppose we can't Living End again because we boarded out 2 of our Living Ends, expecting a lot of graveyard hate here. Dead to Guide creature. Okay, you're right. We know the hand is Force of Negation, 2 mystery cards, so that would have to be the 2 mystery cards. Why is there a banner out at the bottom of the stream? We're doing a sponsor campaign. It's going to be 4 total days. Today is the 2nd day with Bissell. There's also 50% off subscriptions for this campaign. They're sponsoring the wedding. I have liked the card in the deck. It's like when you're doing your Living Ends or you're doing your cast a big thing stuff, right? Obviously, Rent is Due is not a big part of that plan, but it is a really big part of like just your normal beatdown plan. It just gives you a ton of card advantage. Keep this on the play on a mold of 5. How'd the showcase go? I went 5-2 drop, so I could focus on some other stuff once I was dead for top 8. I lost to a really good play where my opponent decided to not consign my Subtlety, despite having the ability to go. Maybe I want to go Terminus book here. I think that's okay. Despite having the ability to go consign my Subtlety into Felia, Flicker the Riddler, they saved the consign for my Bloodbraid Elf, which kind of wrecked me the next turn. And I had like totally ruled out that they had the consign. Can't believe the new slivers WotC announced are humanoid. Haven't they kind of been humanoid? I haven't seen the new ones, but I remember like the core set that. Okay, so we can pick up the Wraith, cycle the Wraith, cast the Asmo. The core set that I remember playing where the slivers kind of came out for the first time since I was playing, they were also kind of humanoid, weren't they? Yeah, there's no code, but thank you for asking, Hart. Yeah, I played the Cascade Birthing Ritual deck in the showcase. I lost a Ginger on Boros. I beat another Boros. I beat 2 Gorios. I beat a Bluetron, and I beat a Prowess. And then I lost to Quantum Energy. So we have 3 black creatures in the graveyard for Crypt of Agadeem at the moment. And then it'll be really cool if we can get that number up and ultimate the Soulstone here. They grab a Guide of Souls, kind of hoping to see an Ocelot Pride because they've got the Bowmaster. This is kind of +2 mana for the Soulstone purposes. Don't think I should attack, but I am kind of interested in trading for the Ranger Captain, but I don't think they're going to take that trade because they've got too much life gain. It's got to be one of the first black mana rocks ever. Yeah, I mean, it's like really not that different from a Talisman to some extent, but in this deck, this is just like such a perfect shell for it, I think, where it sacks to Beseech, and then also like lets you, you can use the Crypt of Agadeem to power this effect out too. Yeah, I like to see Ranger Captain in the energy build. I don't know how well positioned it is. I don't think it's probably super well positioned. They do get a Pride, which we can Bowmaster. We might need to find a Living End, though. They get to double jump with their guides this turn. It doesn't seem like the Soulstone's gonna be enough. Or give us enough time here. Our Crypt right now is +1 mana. They also have the Ephemerate rebound coming in. Oh, I guess also when we go to cast the Beseech, my opponent can sack the Ranger Captain in response. The Ranger Captain build has got to be like particularly miserable, huh? Don't really see a line out of this. Let's go to, especially because we don't have the ability to top deck the Beseech. Let's go to game 2. I'm going to bring in the Sheoldred again, especially if they've got the hate pieces in play. And this, against the Ranger Captains too, I think we just go down to 1 Living End again. Then the Emperors also help us play a grindier game plan against the Quantum Riddler Solitude deck. And I cut the Ovalchases last time. I cut the 4th, not the 4th Overlord, the 4th Beseech. Okay, they're all still in here. And then we got one more cut we can make. What did I cut last time? I can't remember. Maybe I only brought in 2 Fatal Push. I'll just trim 4th Cookbook. I do want to get more reps in with Soulstone, and then I also do think this is the kind of matchup where like crypting for the Soulstone is how you go over the top. Cling, I feel like you just kind of never cut the Cling, but maybe I'm wrong about that. Would an Ovalchase be better in the grinding games when Asmoranomardicadaistinaculdacar do a thing? The thing is they just have Sanctifiers in their sideboard. But, you know, in theory, yeah. I guess we keep that. So they get to jump a Guide of Souls here. Not sure if we want to play Emperor of Bones so we can set up for the Solitude activation. If we draw an untapped land, it's a little bit weird because like this is still tapped. Because with an untapped land, we could go Overlord, Cycle Street Wraith, cast Asmo, which is kind of acceptable. I think I'm just going to cast the Emperor this turn. Again, the Crypt of Agadeem Emperor stuff can be a little bit weird, so just getting the Solitude exiled is really nice. If my opponent doesn't have enough energy to jump again, I get to block the 1/1, so a little bit less pressure on my life total here. They got 3 cards in their hand. I'm gonna activate the Emperor of Bones first, because some people, like our opponent last round, they don't really know the trick where you can just adapt again in response. So I wanted to at least have that up. Then let's go ahead and attack with both. No, let's leave the Emperor of Bones back to block Ophelia if they have Felia. And then I think on the same vein of playing around Ophelia, we'll cast Asmo, cast another Cookbook with the ability to discard the new card and the old Cookbook. Is adding big bombs to reanimate like Archon and Gristlebrand too slow for this deck? We have played that plan in this shell before. It is on the table. I think our opponent will know the trick. Okay, I mean, I believe you. I think I'm gonna go ahead and kill this Felia. I think that instead of going more in on the graveyard though, by playing like Archon and Gristlebrand and potentially Gorios or Persist, I really like that this build gets to play like Emperor of Bones and Bowmaster and Asmo and Overlord, so that in the face of a lot of graveyard hate, you just get to cast a bunch of reasonable cards, and then you also can kind of move away a little bit of the living in stuff while still maintaining kind of this powerful inevitability late game between Crypt of Agadeem and Soulstone, which is kind of how we've sideboarded here too. That makes sense. Been playing Reckless Affinity with new weapons manufacturing and Rottenmouth Viper. Been pretty fun. Yeah, we had that build going really early into the new set. I like right before the set 2, we were like already on a Rottenmouth Viper kick. Could be about time to return to that idea. They've got 2 cards left. Do they have an Ephemerate? Or a Prismatic Ending for the Asmo. So they get to hit me for 3 down to 7. Looks like they're 2 short of Kitty's Blessing. We draw a Soulstone, which you can maybe try to set up with the Overlord. Although I think I want to be able to cast a Bowmaster this turn, so I want to just impending first. I don't do very well on the amount of creatures I've discarded here. Yes, I'm just taking a Trawler. But I think we're just going to be dying to the Guide of Souls a lot of the time here, unfortunately. Well, we could top deck a Beseech for Living End. They might be a little bit of out of action. Although if they just have lands, they can cast the Riddler. I guess that's not true. There's still 24 matches going in the challenge. It does kind of feel like a Beseech or a bust kind of situation. The Terminus could be 3 life. I know it's also I think I'm just trying to set up for the top deck Beseech. But yeah, maybe just gaining 6 life next turn. I guess that did buy me like 1 more draw step. I don't know if that's the kind of game we're trying to play. A little too late on the Bowmaster. 1-1. Yeah, challenge match was really quick. We just cast Emrakul really fast. Yeah, we could discard the Soulstone in game 3, but I was thinking that we wanted to have the Soulstone in play so we could set up for like more of a late game after Living End. But I guess that logic's just kind of flawed because the Living End's going to win by itself. I think Grief and Fury are kind of like the only 2 that were over the line. So I'm keeping this. The big choice, I guess, is like I think we just sort of have enough things to sack to the Beseech that I feel confident enough that we'll draw 1. I'm gonna lead on just the Thoughtseize turn 1. And then the Street Wraith might. I guess it's not gonna help me cast Asmo because I have the Troll anyways. I guess it could let me go Asmo plus Cookbook next turn in a situation where I otherwise might not be able to. I gotta take the frog. Pass back. You draw a thing to sack to Beseech. Although I guess we're just gonna surveil this turn. I did not see that Rack top 8 at the challenge. Let me take a look. This is our 4th land for Beseech, but it's also another creature for living it. I think I'm just going to go ahead and graveyard that. Bandit's Talent, top 8 Modern Challenge. Each opponent discards 2 cards unless they discard a non-land card. And then it racks at level 2, and then at level 3, at the beginning of your draw step, draw an additional card for each opponent who has 1 or fewer cards. Interesting. So they've drawn an Emperor of Bones, which is what you might call a disaster. I'm kind of surprised that you play like 4 copies of the rack in these kind of decks. I feel like 1 or 2 as like just Urza Saga targets is usually how I would prefer to play it, but might just be right. Have I tried to read a plus Goblin Engineer? Yes. I don't recommend barking up that tree too much, but there is some stuff to do with it. Yeah, we went on a little bit of a Crypt of Agadeem adventure. Was it earlier this year? I think it was whenever Overlord and the Balemurk came out. We started to get Crypt of Agadeem brews kind of into the rotation. Had varying degrees of success with a lot of different builds. They're gonna throw a troll at me. If we can draw a big creature to discard and then living it, we might be okay. Although I think we're still just going to be dead to frog most of the time, especially with them having the Riddler in their hand. That's an interesting pickup. Oh, they're just going to subtlety this, though. Alright, let's go to game 2. Against Esper Blink. So again, we kind of want to move a little bit away from the living in plan against them, I think. Kind of the same sideboard plan. Although I don't know, do I want Dauthi Voidwalker against this kind of slower build? Voidwalker could be a bit better than we think. I do think the Emperors are mostly better. I wonder, like, one thing is they didn't actually see the card living end. So let's leave it in for this game. I think on the play, I'm a lot less concerned with Frog because I've got the Asmos. Yeah, I meant to register the Dredge list in the challenge. Our friend who's been working on the deck with us, like top 8'd, which is really cool. Although it was their build with the gazes and not my like straight or my mostly Gruul build, which I think is interesting. But it does seem like the deck is like actually taking off and people are playing it. We played against that deck in round 1, although it was again our friend's build. Whose username? I'm just so bad at remembering usernames. I guess you can see it on the showcase top 8 list. Okay, let's keep this so that I can go Soulstone into Thoughtseize next turn. Didn't you take the Lind from the deck? Didn't you take out the Lind from the deck? The helping, yes, thank you. Yeah, what is that? What does that mean? Gotta take the frog. Yeah, we have played Gnaw to the Bone in Crypt of Agadeem before when that new, like whenever you gain life, they lose life card came out. We 3-2'd the one league we played with it, and someone in chat said it was the worst deck they've ever seen. Okay, I think I'm pretty interested in, like, if they have subtlety, kind of making them use the subtlety here. I'm also okay. I'm okay with them subtletying the Emperor trigger, but we don't need to let them do that now. We can make it less mana efficient if we activate Emperor end of turn. They untap this. Play this Watery Grave untapped. Then they Quantum Riddler, so we'll Bowmaster in response. They might Subtlety in response. They do pitching Force of Negation. So their hand is Consigned to Memory Mystery card. And then they get another card off the Riddler. It does kind of seem like our opponent's pretty likely to just consign the Riddler to keep it in play. And if they do that, then double Bowmaster might go really crazy. They do. So I do want to leave up a subtlety activation. So let's go ahead and Emperor of Bones the subtlety. Right now they have 2 cards in their hand, so they're not getting the extra Riddler draw on their draw step yet. We know no cards in their hand. This could just be bait, but I think they'd also be kind of interested in getting the Riddler online. We don't know their last card. Nothing we're super afraid of. We would be kind of bummed to see Fatal Push, probably. So I think I'm just gonna not believe that I can beat a Wrath Disguise this game. So I'm gonna play the Emperor this turn. What are my feelings on the Humans Legend deck after last week? I think the deck is somewhat viable. There's a lot of good stuff going online. Our overall record is still positive. We didn't have a very good challenge run. It does seem like the deck loses to Mana Flood or Mana Screw a lot, and this is going to kind of happen, I think, when you have so many mana sources. Although, like a lot of times you have built-in resiliency to like cantrip your artifacts, but your lands can be kind of costly to draw a lot of them. And so I don't think it's super possible to play a lot of like the Horizon lands that you can sacrifice to draw a card, but I do think it might be possible to play some of those to help a little bit. And then it's possible I have played Rona in the archetype in the past, and I felt like Rona is pretty bad. If I could use one word to describe Rona, I would say bad. But that doesn't mean. So this is from this Emperor, so we target their cards. It doesn't mean that the Rona is bad in the current version either. Where the current version, I do think. Oh wait. I somehow messed up the trigger stacking there. Sorry. I think I'm going to attack with all my 4 power creatures though. Mac with a 5-pack gifts 50% off from Bizzle. Thank you, Mac. Hope you're doing well today. So in their draw step, they're tapping blue-black to replicate Consign on my Bowmaster trigger. That's pretty cool. I think they're currently still pretty dead on board where I can Emperor my Emperor and attack with 2 more 4/4s. It has been fun to play Bowmaster in the metagame lately. It's felt really, really good. Well, let me check it on the challenge. We're 2-0 in the challenge. There are 5 matches still in progress. What's the sub jingle? My friend Jalen, He's a composer, and he did the intro songs and the sub jingle, and has been working on a third song for about 4 years now. I don't think he'll probably get around to anytime soon. Gonna be a groomsman at the wedding. Spatu with the 4 years. Thank you. Welcome back. I think on the draw, I'll double Wraith, turn 1 Asmo, Beseech for Living End. Let's try it. Two 4-drops. Come on, give me a land. Well, kind of anticlimactic. Although I probably should have brought in some pushes on the draw. I kind of meant to. Did I watch the Brian Kibler video about Universe Beyond? I watched like the first half of it, and then I left the gym. I didn't finish it this morning. I think from what I saw, I didn't finish the video, but I think Brian has a lot of the same thoughts I have on Universe Beyond. There are some good Universe Beyond sets. There are some bad Universe Beyond sets. There are some good Magic sets. There are some bad Magic sets. And I didn't get that deep into it. I guess he was also making the point that the stuff that really takes him out of Universes Beyond from the game is when you have cards like, ironically, Rent is Due, which we're playing today. But also like the David Tennant Spider-Man cards, where you see like a real life actor on a card, and that's like a little uncanny, which I think I agree. Gargan with the 50% off sub from Bizzle, thank you so much. I think generally agree that I don't know if he got this far in the video. For me, my biggest criticism and the biggest problem is like how we have an Omen Path version versus like the paper card version. Like that for me is the biggest problem by a lot. I do think that Brian, he plays a lot more a lot more Commander than I do, and he engages with the game in kind of a